Franklin County in 2000. I'm married to Brooke Stovall. We have 4 wonderful children. I started a I built chicken houses in 2003 where I raised chickens and cattle. I graduated police academy in 2006. At that point in time, I joined Franklin County Sheriff's Office in 2007, where I started out on patrol. While on patrol, I was then promoted up to interdiction team about 6 months into it, and then later to K9. While at the Sheriff's Office, I spent 10 and a half years focusing most of my time on drugs in the county and also on the interstate. 7 years ago, I actually stepped out of law enforcement to grow my grading company, which I've run for the past 7 years. And I felt the calling to actually come back into law enforcement. And so I'm asking for you to please elect me in May to be your next sheriff. Thank you.
First of all, thank you to the Republican Party for hosting this event today. I'm Scott Andrews, a lifelong Franklin County native and candidate for sheriff. I'm married to Laurie Andrews, and I have 3 sons, Casey, Cody, and Corey. I'm also a proud father to my daughter, Breland. I'm a proud grandfather to Lorelei and Laramie. We live here in Cornersville and worship at Word of Life. In addition to my law enforcement background, I'm a 3rd-generation cattle farmer, president of the Franklin County Cattlemen's Association, also the region vice president for the Georgia Cattlemen's Association. I spent 35 years in law enforcement and have 3,355 training hours. I began my career with the Department of Corrections, then later with the Hall County Sheriff's Office, and retired after serving with the Georgia State Patrol as the post commander here in Hartwell. I've served on SWAT teams, motorcycle units, road patrol, and accident investigations. While this is all relevant experience, the one thing I would highlight is my extensive working relationship with ICE to catch, detain, and deport criminal illegal aliens. This is something as your sheriff I commit that I will continue to do. I currently serve as the Safety and Security Director for Franklin County School System. In my law enforcement career, I've had the honor of protecting George W. Bush, coaches Kirby Smart, Coach Mark Rick, and keeping the kids safe in our schools. Now I'm running for sheriff to protect the lives and livelihoods of all Franklin County citizens. Thank y'all.
Mitch, if you'll come up, please.
Good afternoon. Appreciate everybody coming, showing your support for the candidates, whichever one you vote for. The biggest thing I ask is that everybody vote. Whether you vote for me or one of these guys, we want to make sure everybody's voice is heard in this county. I've been with the Sheriff's Office for 36 years. All my law enforcement career has been inside Franklin County. I have worked at 2 PDs at night part-time, so I've worked county and city inside. I worked 7 years at Royston, 2 years at Livonia on the night shift. I'm married to Lori. We have 2 kids, Andrew and Ashley, and 2 grandkids. Now, them's the ones that's gonna put you in something. When you got your grandkids, that's totally different. But in this time, Lori and I have run a nonprofit for over 20 years, and we've also run the Livonia Food Bank for the last 7 years. We enjoy helping the community, and that's one thing I want to do is have a community-focused law enforcement. And I want to sit here, I want to still work with the interdiction teams, but I want to take from the interstate to the county to work my hot spots to make sure I'm covering the citizens of Franklin County, because we have very limited people and very limited funds. So I've got to make sure I'm a steward of the money of Franklin County and the taxpayers to make sure it goes as far as it can go. We're gonna have to watch out, and drugs is one of our biggest problems, along with thefts and domestic violence. I want to work with the courts, because the only way we're going to stop a drug problem or slow it down is we're going to have to get people to quit using it. So if there's not a need for it, then there'll be fewer folks that's out here selling the drugs. So we're gonna have to do things like that, and that's what I wanna do. Thank you very much.
All right, this will be for Scott to start with. Why are you the right person for this position, and what separates you from the other candidates?
I have worked all over the state of Georgia with numerous federal, state, and county agencies. I've been a corrections officer, a deputy, a state trooper. I have patrolled work crashes, served on SWAT teams, and dealt with the civil disturbances all across our state. I'm currently an active shooter instructor. In 2001, I was promoted to corporal with the Georgia State Patrol and served in management and leadership until I retired in 2019 as a post commander in Athens. In Hartwell. During this time, I attended numerous leadership, management classes, including the FBI law enforcement executive training, and I'm also maintained a public safety budget. I have 3,355 training hours. I also have a great working relationship with our state agencies as well as other local agencies. All of this gives me the training and leadership experience to be shared to ensure that our county is ready and prepared for our future. My experience in the school system will help me continue to protect our most important asset, our children.
Mitch, if you'll come up, same question. Why are you the right person for this position? What separates you from the other candidates?
Like I said before, I had 36 years of law enforcement experience in Franklin County. In that time, I've been a patrolman, I've been a supervisor, been an investigator, and numerous other things throughout the county. Also, like I said, I've worked at cities. I understand how they work. We're going to have a combined effort between the counties and the cities, as well as fire and EMS, so that the people in the county are taken care of and protected. And I would like to work some cross-training between the fire departments and the EMS so that we can provide a better service to the citizens. Because some of the citizens in the county, the first person to get there before an ambulance or fire department will be a deputy. So I want to work for that, and I want people to understand I can work together with anybody, and that's what we're going to need to do, because if we can't work together, we're going to have more problems and nothing's ever going to get accomplished. So we need to make sure we do everything possible to work together for the betterment of Franklin County.
Brian, do you want me to restate it? You got it. Nice. Why are you the right person for this position, and what separates you from the other candidates?
I'm the right person for this position due to the fact we got a very large budget at the sheriff's office. For me, with my experience as far as owning a grading company and my other business, I feel like I can help manage the budget. Otherwise, we got going on in the systems is I want to improve as far as the school system is increase the safety of our kids and the drugs. I feel like being part of the interdiction team, K-9 officer, my main focus is the drugs in the county. In saying that, while working drugs, if we can push the dealers out by busting dealers and start seizing more of their properties, that will help bring in revenue to the county to offset taxes as far as what y'all have to pay. So saying that, I feel like as far as being a businessman and my experience as far as working interdiction, as far as the drugs in the county, I would be the right candidate.
All right, we're going to start with Scott on this one. How do you plan to attack high crime areas of the county and distribution of, I'm going to start with, I messed up there, sorry. Mitch, if you'll come up. How do you plan to attack high crime areas of the county and distribution of meth and fentanyl in our communities and even our schools?
All right, like I said a while ago, I'd love to keep an interdiction team and it be dedicated to the county. And what I mean by that is where we have hot spots at, where we're having drug deals going on, whether it be that, whether it be thefts, whether it be any other kind of thing. That's who I want to move to that area. That way I'm stretching my resources and putting them in Franklin County to protect the citizens of Franklin County. So by doing that, That saves us money, but we still got the coverage we need. And also, I'd like to use the interdiction team to work with investigators. That way, when they've got something that they're working on and they need extra manpower, instead of trying to pull off the roads and take people that's answering 911 calls, I can take his team, slide them over there with the investigators to help them to prepare their cases and everything to make sure that we do protect the citizens in this county. Thank you very much.
Brian, you want me to restate?
Yes, sir.
All right. How do you plan to attack high crime areas of the county and distribution of meth and fentanyl in our communities and even our schools?
First, I plan on having like a special hotline for people to call or report drug activities. Also, I want to encourage communities to do a criminal community service thing where they can be proactive and they see high crime areas to please let us know and we can further go into it and investigate it. Saying that, I want to continue with our interdiction team, but have a specialized drug task force attached to us that's going to work with the Franklin County, Livonia, Carnesville, and Royston. I want us all to come together to work because the drugs in Franklin County as a whole is a major problem. Once we target our locations, we're going to step up concentrated patrol around them areas, and I do feel like the amount of drugs in this county, there's enough that there should be search warrants being performed once a week on these high crime areas, which I don't feel like is being done at this time.
Scott, you want me to restate?
No.
You good?
Thank you. Well, you know, the first thing we got to do is put a fear in the drug dealers to get caught. And with that, we will implement. We've got to do something to our county. It's too large not to be zoned. If we create zones and then a drug area within those zones, we get a report on that, then we do saturated patrols. Like Brian said, you step it up, and you just identify those areas, send the deputies to those areas to work. And it's pretty, if you cut off the demand and you stop the market, then they can't sell drugs in your county. Now, they may go somewhere else, but that won't be our concern. But you start arresting these folks when they're out on the road, and you put the fear of folks, and let the word be known that you don't go to Franklin County, and you don't go to Franklin County to steal, and you don't go to Franklin County to sell drugs. Thank you.
All right, Brian, we're going to start with you on this one. In the past, the sheriff's office has exceeded their budget for the year. How will you as sheriff ensure the department stays on budget, and will you commit to the citizens of Franklin County that you will stay on budget?
I think my experience as far as owning multiple businesses that I've succeeded at can help control the budget. However, we're living in times where the budget is climbing. Your cost of living at home is climbing, but we've got to manage our budget. There ain't no cutting it. We've got to manage it, but we also got another major issue to follow. With all the people moving into Franklin County, our jail system is overcrowded, and so that's costing our budget to go over due to that. And that was actually going on 7 years ago when I stepped away. So we've got to grow at the sheriff's office with what's coming to help manage the budget a whole lot better.
Scott, same question to you. In the past, the sheriff's office has exceeded their budget for the year. How will you as sheriff ensure the department stays on budget, and will you commit to the citizens of Franklin County that you will stay on budget?
Yes, I will commit to you that we will stay in budget. If we will be a good steward of the taxpayers' dollars, as well as we'll be transparent. My plan would be to audit the existing budget to see where the money is being spent, then assess what is a need and what is a want. Some things look pretty good on paper, but they just don't fit the needs of our county. Also, we all know that the jail is a huge part of the budget. And with that being said, I would like to look into the thoughts of creating a work release, kind of a pay to stay deal, where it's done in several counties around our area, where the inmates are enrolled in the program. It's a nonviolent inmate. Maybe he's locked up for child support, probation. They go out and work every day and receive a wage for that. And then they turn and they reimburse the county a fee to be enrolled in that program per day. I will also take advantage, since I've been with the school system, I have grants.
I was falling asleep on my job. Sorry about that. All right, Mitch, if you'll come up. In the past, the sheriff's office has exceeded their budget for the year. How will you as sheriff ensure the department stays on budget? And will you commit to the citizens of Franklin County that you will stay on budget?
I will commit that I will do the best I can to stay in the budget, barring inflation and barring some unknown thing that happens. But for the first thing I want to do is I want to contract a financial advisor to come into the sheriff's office, look at everything we got, make sure we stay on task, make sure we're not spending money in places that we shouldn't spend it. I want to make sure that the money we got for employees is spent on employees, the money we got for cars is spent on cars, and keep all this together to make sure that the tax money goes where it's supposed to go to. And, you know, the only way we can do that is we're going to have a financial person to do that. So I'm going to do everything in my power to make it as transparent as possible. If anybody has any question about it, I hope to have the budget broke down with enough line items. So if anybody's got a question, I can show them where the money is being spent and why if we do go over budget. But I'm going to do my best to stay under budget.
All right, Scott, we'll start with you on this one. I think is that how we did? Or did you start? I'm getting confused. I think I have Scott coming up next. How will you utilize state resources to preserve county resources for law enforcement presence in all areas of the county? So they put examples, State Patrol, and then GBI, and there's something else, I don't know what it is, so.
I still have a few contacts with State Patrol and the GBI from my years working with the state. You know, when the post in Hartwell was built, they built it to be an interstate post. I can tell you, I was a post commander in Athens at the time. And since then, they've kind of got away from the interstate. However, I would definitely reach out to the post commander as well as the troop commander in this area and request them to take over that interstate. There's no need for us to duplicate our services. There's plenty we've already talked about, we all have, about the drug areas and the needs in our county, that our deputies should be serving our citizens first. Not worrying about what's going to Charlotte or what's going to Atlanta. Let's protect our folks. Let's protect our stakeholders, our taxpayers. The GBI, I would utilize the GBI, the drug task forces. And you know, it's pretty easy to call them, but you got to be able to hold their feet to the fire. And I have those contacts to reach out to those folks. But, hi, Angela.
All right, next is Mitch, same question. How will you utilize state resources, for instance, State Patrol, GBI, to preserve county resources for law enforcement presence in all areas of the county?
Just like Scott said, Brown will probably say the same thing. We'll request, you know, anytime we need something, we're going to request from the state, and the state's always been good to work with Franklin County. Whenever we've needed something, they've come into the county and helped us. But like Scott also said, you have to hold their feet to the fire. And that's what I promise you that I will do. We all have worked together, and I want to continue to work together with them. Anything we can do for them also is what we're going to have to do, so they will help us. If we just expect them to do everything, they're not going to come in here. So we're going to also have to work with them to make sure this is a two-way street. So if the state helps us, we've got to help the state for the betterment of Franklin County. Thank you.
Ryan, same question. You want me to reset? How will you utilize state resources, for instance, Georgia State Patrol, GBI, to preserve county resources for law enforcement presence in all areas of the county?
It's pretty much like the other two said. I mean, we've always, to this day, got along with GSP, GBI. They've always assisted us when needed. We assisted them when needing them. But saying that, you know, we're going to hold their feet to the fire. Also, reach out to the DEA, and even having the interstate, we have to deal with ICE and customs on occasions. So working with the federal level, keeping a good relationship, that means a lot, because they are willing to come to our county and help pick up illegal immigrants and stuff like that in large drug cases when we do get them. But saying that, the DEA also will be assisting us in small county drugs that's coming in this county. It comes up the interstate to get to Franklin County. Thank you.
All right, we're going to start with you on this one, Mitch. What is your plan to use current resources to maintain the county jail?
Well, the first thing we said is the jail's gonna be our biggest problem, whichever one of us gets selected. It's not gonna be an easy fix, so the first thing I'd do is go in and do an assessment and have all contracts for the jail and the sheriff's office rebid. That way I can make sure that I'm spending county money at the best rate, so we'll have more money left over to cover the things in the jail. Because if we don't rebid these contracts and we're not trying to be a good steward of the money, then we're gonna keep getting higher and higher and higher. So I'm gonna have to do everything I can to make sure that I'm doing the best for the citizens of Franklin County with their tax money to make sure that we spend it where it needs to be spent. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Brian, this is the same question for you. What is your plan to use current resources to maintain the county jail?
Like I said before, the county jail is a major problem for us, our expenses going into our budget. But I would love to sit down, start a committee with the jail, with maybe some concerned citizens on this committee, and talk about a way to make this jail better. Saying this, that we are going to have to add on to the jail at some point in time. But instead of raising it on taxes, I would love to talk to the commissioners about possibly doing a splosh to help add on, because it is not fair that we're housing out on average 15 to 20 inmates a day at $55 a piece going to another county, and you're actually paying for another county's jail at the end of the day.
Scott, you want me to restate? Yeah. Okay. What is your plan to use the current resources to maintain the county jail?
Well, I understand there's been a lot of work going on at the jail, and we've all said that the jail is probably our biggest expense, and you really get nothing out of that. So that's why I bring up we'll call it the pay to stay program, where let's give a little ease to the jail instead of boarding these inmates out, housing them out somewhere. Let's create a work release program where they can actually, other counties are doing it, as I said earlier, and they're charging $25 a day for that inmate to be enrolled in that program, where they go out, they work, they come back nonviolent, they pay their fines, they're able to pay their child support, things that they can't do if they're locked up in a jail cell. But yes, the jail is the issue. We all know that. I'll be interested to get in there and see what's going on in the jail and what needs to be done. Thank you.
All right, so this is going to be the last question, and we'll start with Brian. How will you address the recruitment and retention of deputies and jail staff?
First, I start off getting with my commissioners and trying to figure out a way to get these guys and girls some better pay. That's the problem right now across the board. We've got good employees, but low pay. And you cannot keep them when they can go to another county 10 minutes away, making $3 to $5 more an hour. So saying that, I would love to get with the commissioners and try to figure out a way to help give better pay and better benefits to our own people where they would stay here for a long time.
All right, Scott, same question to you. How will you address the recruitment and retention of deputies and jail staff?
Leadership. You've got to pay your folks. The old saying is you get what you pay for. I would go in, I would look at the budget and find a way to give them a raise, and then all y'all that's running for commissioner, whoever, I'm coming to y'all to get y'all's part, because we have got to be willing to hire quality people. There's people that live within our county right now that drive to other counties. Who better to patrol your roads and take care of your kids than people that lived and have grew up in this county that has pride in our county? I'm telling you, I'm passionate about that. When I was with the State Patrol, we did all kind of recruiting, and you can see billboards. But money is an issue, and we've got to address that. But we've got to create a work environment that people want to work in. And leadership plays an important role of that, as well as money.
All right, Mitch, last question. How will you address the recruitment and retention of deputies and jail staff?
All right, like I said earlier, I want to rebid the contracts because the money I save spending on the jail, then I can use that money to try to raise salaries for my individuals. Also, when I do the same thing in the office, you might find a little more money there. We're going to have to go to the commissioners. There's no way around it. But as far as recruitment goes, I would like to also start by sending jailers on a regular basis to the police academy. That way, when I have openings open up, I've already got somebody that's trained that can come on to the road and use those people in the jail to sit here and help with transports, courts, civil things, stuff like that, get them some experience, but they're still working in the jail. Then that way, when it does come an opening or we have something go on and we need more manpower, I've got somewhere to pull it from without having to hire another employee because that employee already works for me. Also, we've got to get the retirement back. If we don't get retirement, we're not going to keep anybody. Thank you.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Give these guys a round of applause, please. Y'all can take a breath now. All right, next up, can I ask the candidates for Board of Education Post 1 if they'd please come up? All right, same format as before. You're going to each have 2 minutes to state why you should be elected as the next Board of Education member. And so I'm going to start with you, Mr. Minion, and then we'll go to Mr. Oliver.